I want to thank you for turning on Training Video 1 for Caring for the Heart Restoration Ministries. What you're doing by activating this time is choosing to find out on how you can come alongside people and help them. There is a harvest of people out there who are needing assistance. And so my desire during this video is to share thoughts with you. Hopefully these will stir thoughts in you, and through this time we can have this Spirit-led dialogue. I'm going to be sticking to my notes because I can and have been known to go off on tangents. So we are sticking to our notes, and I just want to open up with something that as you think about training and equipping a person who is in need of care, who has distresses in so many ways, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, in so many ways, it can be overwhelming. People are complicated, and they come to you possibly with these sophisticated spider web issues, and you're going, I don't know how to help. Well, that is one thing that Caring for the Heart Restoration is wanting to do, is to equip you from your own living room or your computer chair or wherever you're watching this to realize that there is a game plan that is powerful. And we want to equip you in that and show you. In future videos, I will share with you an informal game plan that hopefully will spur further ideas on your own ministry on how you can care for people. That being said, the far greater key as we open this training is realizing this is all led by the Spirit of Christ. Prayer will be a powerful way to come alongside someone. This has proven time and time again to be a transforming way for people to embrace and resolve their core, profound, deep issues. The cases out there can be very hard. But you know what? We will be looking at how prayer and the ministry of prayer takes us out of our intellect, out of our brain, out of our knowledge base, where we truly can speak from the heart. So that will be happening in later training videos. First, I want to just share with you something that might be really obvious. For the sake of clarity, I want you to understand what I believe is an open-hearted, healthy person. If we don't understand what a healthy heart is, a healthy-hearted person is, then we will not get what? Health versus unhealth, lightness versus the darkness. We have to know that for ourselves as we work with people. So the question, you know, it's a very easy question, and it starts with the so. So, what is a healthy, open heart? What's it look like? What do they look like? Have I ever been around one? Have I ever experienced that for myself? Well, with the question of an open-hearted person, I want to stay really, really basic. The key to effective communication, I believe, is simplicity, keeping it simple and short. See, we do not need more information. We need an experience with God to the heart. And that is a simple, profound thing. We don't need to read more books or have more information. We are inundated with that. So this is going to be just exactly that. It's going to be simple and to the point. Okay, so what is the heart? The word heart is really something thrown around out there like, you know, Kansas. The state of Kansas varies the temperatures every week. It's just, there's so many definitions of the heart. So for the record, let me say this. This description of the heart comes from my own personal experience. So it is very much subject to interpretation, okay? First of all, I used to think the heart, and as a guy, who wouldn't, in this culture where guys have been lied to, the heart is for sissies, don't you know? Yeah, don't show any flaws. Do not be vulnerable. No weakness shown. Be tough guy, don't express, kind of grunt around. I was a buck up, suck up, get over it kind of guy. I think the better phrase is I was a macho tendency dude. What a dead end run that was. As I came to understand the heart and the heart inside of me, I realized this brand new horizon. I was giving myself permission to be human. And when I give myself permission to be human, it's so freeing and liberating. Because as Solomon says, all of life flows out of this place. This is where your will lies. This is where your thoughts interact. This is where you dream from. This is where your fears lie. This is where your emotions flow out of. We don't live by our emotions. But you know what? We need in our culture to become more emotionally intelligent. Because this emotional intelligence leads to relational intelligence. And when we get relational intelligence flowing from a healthy heart, it will enhance your life tenfold. So, real quickly, what is a person with an open, healthy heart? Number one, this is my opinion, but let me give it to you. Number one, I believe them to be objective as they're living life. For the most part, in general, these people walking around, processing information, dealing with people, relationships, work, family, with their God, with their life, they are objective. Because the opposite of that is subjective. Subjective is somebody who is self-focused, self-absorbed, and very one-directional. You ask them a question, you're not going to get much back. They'll be talking about themselves. Number two, the number two thing that I think for an open-hearted person is that this is really obvious. They're others focused, which means they have this capacity and ability to come with a sympathy, and that's a focusing to care. They come then with empathy. That's a listening to understand. Getting behind somebody else's eyes. That's a great interrupter of an anger cycle, by the way. And then it's coming with compassion. And compassion really means this, is developing a plan to help somebody in need. That could be our spouse, it could be our child, it could be our mom or dad, it could be anybody around us. An open, healthy-hearted person is objective as they care for people. Number three ingredient, I think, is they do not take people really too personally. In other words, they're not easily reactive. In other words, they see a bigger picture. We can deal with people better by understanding the truth rather than what? Engaging in so many false assumptions and mind reading and distortions. Very, very important. Another key ingredient that I can't underestimate as we think about Christ in our heart is has someone experienced God's grace? Have they experienced His salvation? And are they seeking after a godly life? Because if God's Spirit is flowing through them, out of this flows this Titus 2 thing, which is through God's grace, there's this profound teaching, this deep teaching through His grace. Because you know what? Today and tomorrow I'm going to fail. And the next day I'm going to fail. And what do I do with that? I hope that I have a desire to be in Christ and let Him work and flow and allow me to stay tender and soft-hearted and to stay objective and others-focused. And only Jesus can allow us to do that, in my opinion. But let me just stop for a second. Okay? I know people out there who have great personalities. They seem to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit. It's like, wow, God's got to be in them. And maybe you know some of them too. It's like, wow, you know, life, they just do life well, relate well. And I don't think they have God. But you know what, as I've come to understand that so many of these people, when you get to know them and their inner person, they are on a fear merry-go-round. And it's nagging, and it afflicts them, and they don't know how to get off. There's no peace. Just a few other characteristics very quickly is this one's very important as I work with people and as you work with people. The strength of one's identity. Okay? So many closed-hearted people are very submissive. Way submissive. In other words, their identity has been fractured at a core level of their life when they needed so much, so many cool messages, and they didn't get them. And they really, at this point in their life, don't know who they are and where they're going. And a couple other ones is this. Another one is this. It's called dominance. Dominance done well. In other words, dominance with a healthy tolerance. Dominance where there's this humble confidence, where there's this understanding, there's this accepting, this loving as they work with people. Because they are able then in this confidence, courage, able to lead others to restoration through a compassion and through a courage and through a sensitive presence. Now this one, as we close, I think is probably the most important as you think about an open-hearted person. That means that you and I have the ability to care for our own heart. We know what hits our buttons, what pushes our buttons, and we know how to go resolve them. Maybe it's with somebody else, maybe it's with God, however that might look. Of course it's with God. But how do we care for others if we don't have a healthy self-care? And we will discuss this at far greater length in later training. So as I close, let's summarize this. Let's summarize it this way. To live fully engaged is cool. I'm smiling. It is so cool because out of this place flows life and health and peace. It's an amazing journey to pursue. There can be roadblocks along the way. But see, the key is having a foundation that allows us to get off crazy merry-go-rounds and find a healthy heart path. Because you know what? When we take this risk, when we take God's grace and we feel safe, then there is this amazing thing called vulnerability. And when we're vulnerable, we are going to take a risk and we're going to come and feel safe and secure with somebody. And we're going to make that relation two-directional. Out of that's going to flow openness and honesty. So, in my opinion, this is an amazing thing that God created us for. We can settle for a closed-down, lonely existence, but there's got to be more to this life than that. What do you think?